Hey, let me take 1 second here to let you guys know that my products, the Titan Crew, are available over at Walmart. You got the pump product, get that focus on the workout. The test booster, bump it naturally. And then the joint support. You gotta keep the joints healthy, that way you can train for a lifetime. I want to take that 1 minute. Let's get back into the podcast. Thanks again. All right, this is the Michael Hearn Show over on Generation Iron, and I'm pleased to announce one of the biggest sponsors we have at the Mr. Olympia this year, Transcend, and I got the two main cats that run the whole show. Ernie and Jesse are going to sit down with me. I want to talk about this whole phenomenon of TRT, recovery, the goods and bads of what we can do in today's medical world on bodybuilding. All of this, there's so much to get into with these guys that I am going to split this up into a couple episodes. There's just so much information that I want you guys all to get that are at home watching this show and supporting me at Generation Iron. All right, let's get into it. So you guys are in the business. I've been in the business in a different way that I've seen so many from the 70s and the 80s and 90s do whatever it was, that extra stuff, become legends and then deteriorate, lose their lives. So this one's a touchy for me. Yeah. This is like, I know how incredible health and fitness can be, and then I also know the other side of it on how, not if you lose yourself. I mean, obviously there's people that lose themselves, and you can't help those individuals that lose themselves. But even the guys that just push themselves and we're athletes, and we don't have an off.
Nope.
And we're the worst of our own coaches, because if we can push it harder, we'll push it harder. And we can't see ourselves as clear as you guys can see us, or the coach can see us, or the significant other can see us. So this one, I'm gonna try to set this up in like 3 parts. And tell me if you guys got any information for me on this, because there's so much that you can cover. And there's so much beneficial. Hey, what's the best stuff to do? When should they start it? What's the blood? Okay. But I think there's another side to this that I want to start with, is the misinformation.
Yeah.
And I think the misinformation is because so many people aren't even common sense smart when it comes to this stuff.
Take what the coach tells them to, and they get the list, and they don't even question it.
It's just, oh, okay, that's what I'm doing.
I'll go to Doug.
Yeah, we get to see.
Right.
Yeah, we get to see both sides of it as well.
Yeah.
Working with different people who are competing for the Olympia, or having sent medication lists from other people we're not working with as well. So we get to see it all around the whole bodybuilding community and world. And it's absolutely something we're passionate about to help to change this, because a lot of the time coaches do not take what's into their best interest for their client, and they just want to see that win and not the long.
Isn't the win the best thing for the client?
Not if they can't win again. And on top of that, not everything they're doing is going to help them in the way that needs to help them. A lot of times those athletes get the same response or a better response with less medication, with less side effects. What they're doing is they're over-medicating most of the times, and the side effects are outweighing what their gains could be. That's when you have overspill, and that's when you have fatigue, and then there's a science to it, obviously, but more importantly, if you're doing it long-term from the start the right way, and you're monitoring everything from the get-go, you're going to have athletes that are going to do 20 years instead of 5, and you're going to have better physiques, and a better competition, and a healthier
Okay, so then I am going to line this in perfectly. So the first one, let's stay best I can. You guys are focused, and I'm going to be everywhere. Let's focus on what society thinks, and what some people are doing, and that we see, and then the discussions I have. And the discussions I have are all with these legends, and they all say the same thing: less is more when it comes to the medication side of bodybuilding. And I come from the days of the 70s and 80s of the greatest power lifters. Jeff Magruder, Doug Furness, Doyle Kennedy, and these guys. And I learned at that stage the other side of this, and I was such a pup. But I was told, wait until you got some kind of foundation, because I'm 9, 10, 11. It's like, what's the point of me doing that? And I think one of the biggest things is kids think this is a go-to thing for them.
Shortcut.
And I don't know. Okay, shortcut, quick way to get to the top, way to beat everybody else. And that confuses me because you're still growing at such a level that nobody on anything in the world is growing more than you at that age. And so why is that a misunderstanding that somebody at 13 and 14 should get on this stuff, the medication side?
I can't see a situation unless there is a medical need, something where a delay of puberty or something where there is a big hormonal imbalance. But at that age,
But not a trophy.
no. I mean, there's no reason for it at that point.
I haven't been brought. This hasn't been brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Anyone this young, so.
Yeah, that's.
You heard about it?
Yeah, but I was a competitive teenage bodybuilder and powerlifter, and so I knew of kids when I was at teenage nationals. Their parents were starting them on 15, 14, 15, 16 years old, and now I see that now in my people talking to me when I go to parents. His parents is talking to me, hey, what age? And I'm like, not an age. Wait, holy sheesh, if that's something that's available to you and you want to do it at a later time, do it at a later time, but there's a foundation. And I want to talk to you guys about that foundation for kids, because that puberty,
I mean, their hormones at that point are already through the roof. There's nothing you're going to add to it that's going to increase their growth rate or strength. They're at their, genetic potential envelope right there. It's not gonna. All you're going to do is actually crush your natural, ability to create the hormone and then create problems for them later.
so just again, you guys don't think teenagers, unless there's a medical, and that's why this stuff came about, isn't that right? For burn patients is really why some of the original steroids were created.
Yeah, that was fun, yeah.
Osteoporosis, burn victims, all sorts of, delayed onset puberty, it goes down the line.
But I think that's a great part of this stuff, because I don't think people realize when they talk steroids, they think sports.
They do.
And there's such a medical side to this where it helps you for the average Joe, for the average mother that has a baby.
Mother-in-law is 72 years old, and she rejects most of her bone grafts when she had to get a plate in her neck, fusion, and we put her on a nandrolone cream, osteoporosis medicine. Her primary care would never thought of it, and her surgeon couldn't explain anything. Nobody could figure it out. Well, why don't we try this? 6 months later, she's fine. The graft took. It's like, oh well, your bone density wasn't really where it needed to be.
Which again comes into play, and
Yeah.
we go from teenagers to people in their 70s, which I'm closing in on.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing thing, and I respect it so much that I never look at the medication side as something that's like, hey, you know what? Let's jump on this. And I noticed when my team put up questions, that was a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff is a nonchalant, hey, I'm going to jump on this. I'm 17 years old. What? And it's like, where's the comprehension to something that's so amazing, that helps people in such, burn patients. A guy named Mike Brignoli was a huge competitor, fireman from Washington State when I was a teenager. And he was burnt in a fire. And I respect first responders more than anything. Military, police, firemen, that's ultimate to me. Those are superheroes. And they had him on steroids to try to fix the damage that had happened and stuff. And that's when I really started hearing about the medical side of this stuff. And I had a talk today. For an hour with somebody that was we respect, and also I guess works with you guys. Phil Heath.
Oh yeah.
He works with you guys. Mm-hmm. And we had a nice talk, and it was amazing because his beliefs and my beliefs were both athletes, first and foremost. Even though I know these guys think of Phil Heath as Mr. Olympia, he's an athlete first and foremost.
Oh, yeah.
And that's his focus, his athletic ability, his longevity, his career as a businessman. And we were just talking about everything that you guys are involved with. It made me think of, it's a medical side.
Oh yeah. We consider ourselves more of a preventative medicine clinic than a hormone replacement therapy. When we first started branding the company, we figured it's an HRT with peptides, and it was, something that we were looking at offer. As we got into it more and more, and we got more and more patients, and we started doing root cause analysis and finding out what was going on with them, we were actually replacing primary care certain occasions, and we're actually coming up with alternative solutions that we're working.
Yeah, definitely, because we do specific blood work
Yeah.
that a lot of physicians
Very
don't
focused.
know how to do or don't do. So a lot of people are coming to us for different types of hormone deficiencies, but also we have some of the latest and greatest peptides that not a lot of people know about as well, which are more natural.
We were talking a lot about the peptides and connective tissue and stuff, and so this is incredible to me, because the talk was, well, is it especially with me and Phil? I love our talks he and I have, because it's not surface, it's not bodybuilding, because neither of us can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets so much more into being mobile and what's my setup in 10 years. And in the bodybuilding world, there's no setup for 10 years. It's, I need to be in shape in 3 months.
Yes,
Let me just get gassed out of my mind. Let's not worry about blood tests. Let's not worry about this. I don't care if I'm 18, 19, or 20. Let's do it. And I keep trying to say, there's a whole amazing thing here that you guys are offering. And the industry, the health and fitness world, is an amazing thing if done correctly.
Yes.
So what can you say to the young guys out there? Let's say they did the blood work. Maybe everything is fine. My parents thought I was abnormal and I had tapeworms because through puberty I hit 275 pounds by 15. And I was already doing 550, 600 pound squats and deads at that age. And so they thought, well, out of the 10 kids, I was this more genetic gifted than all of my older brothers and sisters. And it wasn't. They did tests on me, everything was fine. I was just a big freaking farm boy. But those guys out there that do worry about that, like, I'm a skinny guy, I'm 110, I'm 15, 16 years old, what can you guys tell them? Because I keep telling them, time, relax.
Patience, time, work. You have to put in all those things first and be consistent with it, and wait. Muscle maturity comes. There are no shortcuts to that.
I hated that. I hated that at that age. I hated muscle maturity. Ugh.
Yeah.
Nobody's the same. You
Yeah.
can't you can't pretend that you're somebody else.
Nope. No, and that's why the blood work's important, because you have to understand what's going on in your body. Because even just from working out at a high intensity, everything you do through diet, your sleep, everything's going to throw off your hormone range, and that's going to put other things into a spin. So you need to know where you are baseline, where you are when you're stressed, when you're in the middle of your training, into your training, how to rebalance. So it's a lot more to it than just, I'm going to take the stack. And they don't know that.
We do
so
have
part of
a-
that is education.
We do have a really cool option for
Yes.
guys in their 20s, though. We have a natural option to help raise testosterone.
What? What? Wait a minute. You can't naturally raise your testosterone, guys. Now you're making stuff up.
Well, we've seen
You mean you can raise it?
these
Ooh,
guys
someone's going to
have
hate
lower
that.
testosterone than pretty much all time. And you can see it a lot of different ways right now with our country. Right?
Yeah.
So we have a couple peptides, natural medications to help raise testosterone numbers. And if you were to stop these medications, you would see your testosterone stay raised.
Yeah, I mean, essentially you're just increasing that LH, FSH, which is going to increase the production of testosterone through
But
ACG.
it would decrease over time.
It would decrease
obviously.
over time, but at that point, it's a much better alternative, and you could stay on the medication for a while.
Did I tell you guys to say this? Did we talk about this and me tell you to say that this?
No.
You can do it naturally also?
No.
Really?
No, and honestly...
Because they're going to say I did.
So we have worked with a lot of different athletes, and some of them are a younger generation, and they're on TikTok, and they have younger followers. They're coming to us, and we're seeing a new group of people coming to us, and they're in that 19 to 23, 24 range. Natural levels below 200. And
Yep.
it's because of sedentary lifestyle, diet,
So many
and lack.
Well, I got to stop you there. Don't go into this too much yet, because I'm being told from the experts, and when I speak expert, I'm saying social media experts, which are just snowflakes and idiots. Everybody's the same. Everybody's the same. It doesn't matter who you are. When you're 20, it's through the roof. When you're 35, it drops. When you're 50, you're completely done.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, really? I've never heard that. I know taxes and death is for sure for everybody, but I didn't know that testosterone dropping was for everybody. And these guys are saying, no, the experts say everybody's the same, 35, done. And I'm like, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard, to say that everybody's equal. I'm not as big as Shaq's kids, and they're 17 years old. Where did they come up with the concept that everybody's equal?
I don't even understand how they got the concept of what they've done on the blood work with the ranges to say that everybody at this number is specifically good. That doesn't even make sense to me either. You know, if somebody's symptomatic and they're at 200, and somebody's
What do you mean by
symptomatic?
symptomatic?
Fatigue, tired, no libido, no energy, muscle waste, you know, gaining weight, not being able to lose it, you know, the standard symptoms of low testosterone, and they're in their 600s. Okay, well, now you're saying from an insurance perspective that they're not treatable, which is why we're private play, so we don't play by those rules. But we would treat them. We wouldn't tell them to take, you know, a massive amount. It would be a small therapeutic dose, but we'd bring them up to a point where they felt good.
1 second here just to say that I have talked to these guys at Transcend, and if you guys are interested in doing your blood work, I'm going to put a link down below for you guys to click on that bad boy. That's going to be a special Titan link for you guys to get your blood work and check in on these guys and get your coach to talk about what's going on with your body. I think this is a smart thing for everybody to do. And so that's why I want to make it a point for them to work with us and give us a link that will help you guys do this. That's it. I'll see you guys in a second. Let's get back to the conversation.
I love that you brought that up too, because the range is for everybody from the age of 18 to 100.
Yeah, the bell
what
curve
does
is
the
stupid.
standard American do? There's fast food restaurants on every corner.
Yeah, don't compare me to the average. Who's the study on that are these 35-year? I never want to be compared to an American 35-year-old. It's like, I can't even fathom what that is. Training once a month, eating like a slob, stressed out about everything, crying about everything. It's like, I can't fathom. Of course your testosterone's low at 35.
Yeah.
But we keep going over this and over this and over this, that they want that excuse to go, no, I'm going to get on it because of this. And I think it's a miracle thing. I think it's an amazing thing. And for some reason, people think that I think it's a bad thing. I said, I've never said that. There's nowhere in print that I've ever said it's a bad thing. It's just, you have to be a smart enough individual to go down any road. And I think weightlifting is bad for you if done incorrectly.
Oh, yeah.
I think eating is done incorrectly is bad for you.
Yeah.
But they don't hear that. They only hear, I want to get jacked. I don't have to train as hard. I don't have to eat as clean. And I can just do whatever. And I'm like, you're setting yourself up to fail.
What people don't understand is at a athletic level where you and Phil and anyone else would have been, I'm not insinuating anything what anyone is doing, but with the diet and the exercise and everything that's put into those protocols, you're balancing out with adding hormones to get from depleting where you are in the system. It's not necessarily about raising it here. It's keeping you from breaking and keeping your body at a point where you can continue on to do those things and get those results. You know, it's not a shortcut.
Best company that did that for a while was MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Because, and again, I'll go back to this on any sport. I don't care what sport you do. Nobody trains harder in my world than an MMA fighter, because they have to do so much. And you're set up to lose. You got to box, you got to wrestle, you got to do jiu-jitsu, you got to do road work, you got to train, you get no sleep, you're overtraining. And so they allowed them to get back to at least a livable level because you're destroying yourself. And I thought that was smart.
Exactly. The NFL should do it. Everyone should do that. You don't want to have athletes who you're putting $20 million to in a season sitting on the sideline. Well, then let them do the things they need to do under a doctor's care with blood work and to make sure they're healthy. And guess what? They'll keep them on the field.
I agree.
They'll be on the field longer, more seasons.
More money.
And afterwards, they're not so destroyed.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can enjoy their life after the game.
Because we've all been there. We've been those 20-year-olds that would train like that. And it didn't matter where we were destroying ourselves. We were like, I don't care, I'm 20.
To make it, whatever it takes.
Yeah, pride. Gotta do it.
You don't realize by 35, 40, you're tanked. The connective is destroyed. Your shoulders are gone. Your back is gone.
A great example is our good friend Phil, because everybody through his career would make fun of him for how he lifts, right? But the gift, he knew how to lift correctly, and you see him still lasting throughout all this. I've told everybody my whole life that when I would lift the way that Phil lifts, I would use him as an example, and now he's one of our great friends. But we're all seeing in line, but that's a perfect example as well. Just really being smart about it.
Yeah, having the knowledge, being disciplined, and being consistent. And you just stayed with it.
Do you guys believe there should be? Let's finish this real quick before I go into like how can they learn real information and not Instagram information, not social media information? Because I think social media information is, I mean, you got idiots putting out information to people that just don't have the common sense to look through that.
For us, we use social media not as only a marketing tool, but an education tool to the potential patient. So that's why we always align ourselves with people like Phil, like you, like others that have the same philosophies. So we're putting that information out. So they're seeing that. They come to our website, they talk to our health consultants, they're going to get the same information. And I think, you know, our company, other companies, they need to continue to do the same thing. First, the stigma needs to be changed, and the truth needs to come out about how these things work and what's right, so people stop making bad decisions. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Then find the reliable source that you feel comfortable with, and somebody that will medically take care of you in a good way. They need to kind of shift.
Yeah, we got a bad rap too.
Yeah.
Clinics like ours, because they were a money type of clinic where everybody got the cookie cutter type of protocol, the same 3 medications, doesn't matter what your blood work says. So we're kind of changing that as well.
I'm laughing because me and Phil had a talk.
Yeah.
And this talk it wasn't even a talk. He just talked for a good hour and I listened and I was like, and I got me tingles now. Because as he continued to talk and explain things to me and everything, and I'm like, so you're actually talking about guys that think like him and me. Because you're not the cookie cutter place that comes in and goes, hey, let's get you on some tea, let's get an estrogen blocker and whatever. It's like, they just get you in, boom, 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 and get you out.
Yeah.
Where there were so many facets, and the communication too was second level. And we went into blood work discussion, where a basic place has to do the blood work just to show you on the books. You guys do an extensive blood work.
Very extensive. And then we ask the question, why are you here? What do you need? What are you looking to solve, or what are you trying to do? What's your goal? The other places are just assuming this is what they want, this is why they're here, give them this.
Or let the individual come in and say, this is what I want, here you go.
Yeah.
Go on.
We obviously do all in a different way, but at the end of the day, we individualize, customize everything, and we'll make sure that we're putting the priority of the patient, their health, what's important to them, in line with what their health markers are saying, and then we design something custom for them, have custom medication made, and then sent to them.
I love that because I've been on the phone with people that I train. And I say, hey, let's go get your blood work, get your stuff done. Let's see where you're at. Let's see what's going on. You're 50 years old now. And I've been on some phone calls that were surprising. Guy comes back, doctor's online, and he's like, so your T level's at 780. You're 50 years old. We're training 3 days a week. He's eating perfect. He's got a stressful job, and he's still at 780. And so the guy goes, yeah, I would like you around 1,000. And I'm like, you feel good? And he's like, yeah, he doesn't want to be a bodybuilder. He just wants to be a healthy guy. And we want just more and more bone density and connective tissue. And I'm like to the doctor, it's 200 points and stuff. And I'm like, his energy's good. He trains well. He's getting stronger. He's still fine. And it was like, still, he had a number in mind, not knowing this guy. He was doing the chart, not the individual.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, well, I'll have him call you back. You got off the phone. I'm like, why would you still, if he's 780, hey, we don't take him. There's guys out there at 200 like you were talking about. 20-year-olds at 200.
Well,
and everybody's different too.
We can also talk about the free test number.
Oh yeah.
Which is the important part, the free testosterone. And that's where we're going to go into the numbers, because you guys are scientists when you guys doing this stuff. You're going into something deeper than other places go.
Yeah.
You're trying to find out every aspect of the individual, which I love.
And we're trying to go to anabolics second or last. And minimum.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Why? That doesn't make you more money.
Nope, it doesn't.
Doesn't make you more money out of the gate, I guess you would say.
We're built for longevity. We're built under, the pretext of integrity. I did military time. I was working with agencies. I deployed. I spent a lot of time away from my family. When I came back, got into the private sector, I didn't feel like I was doing anything important. I'm working in IT for, retail grocery, and it was rewarding financially, but it was so mundane. I couldn't do it. So this is what I was passionate about. So I took my background and went into this, which allowed me to have a new way, a new mission, a new something to bring to bear that was going to leave something good in the world. I mean, Jesse, your arm says it all.
That's how they found directions over there. Look at that.
Yeah. So
Just got it.
that's the pinnacle of what we're doing. We just started a foundation for veterans, first responders, firefighters. We're working with Robert Wilkins on that. But the company was the platform vertical to get us to be able to do those things, and then obviously to run the company with the same mentality. And we've been aligned in that vision since day one.
Absolutely, side by side.
I love that. It's just that, and I don't know why more people don't do that approach, but they're just in for the money. It's a hot thing right now.
Yes.
I think that's the worst business decision you're going to make. You know, if you're trying to make something quick and fast, well, isn't that the same problem we're trying to fix with the health? You know, nothing is quick and fast. You have to invest.
Especially this. And
Invest into your health and body. You have to invest into your business and your people. We have to give them knowledge and time and patience and give them training, and then make sure that we align them with the right patients and our right medical staff that they work with, give them the tools they need. And that takes time and money. And I'd rather put the time and money and effort there and have a solid foundation so that when we scale and we bring on more people and more patients, we don't dilute our quality, we don't dilute our process, nothing changes, we're just able to do it on a larger scale. So we just put everything back.
something I heard when Phil and I were talking, and I wish more young kids would get this, and I'll finish on the young kids, because I worry about the young kids, because I was that kid, and I was so hungry to win. And so I understand where they're coming from in the one sense. I don't care about hitting 30. I need to win at 20. And it's a lot of us, you know, we're so tunnel vision at that age, and you think that you got the whole life, and you don't realize what full life is. And so I worry about these guys, and mostly when we ask the questions, it scared me worse. Because, you know, at least I said, you know, at least I'll train right and I'll eat right and all this. And their questions are, hey, can I eat half-ass and train just less and do this stuff? I'm like, block. I don't even want that kind of conversation on this. It's just, it's a weird approach that you want to do a pill or something, and that way you don't have to train. When this could set you up in such a way that you don't even comprehend yet. But something Phil was saying, and I could feel his, he's an athlete and he loves competition. And he's talking about how he's feeling so incredible, and he's so focused on business aspect, and he's doing stuff. And so each time you're getting ready for a show, you got to get ready for the Olympia. Everything else is going to suffer a little bit, you know, because it's going to be an imbalance, mostly at that level. And so right now he's so focused on the business aspect, the training is going to take a little bit of a back seat. And he's like, Mike, I'm telling you, I'm training 4 times a week. I'm eating around 70%, and I'm freaking amazing right now. And I'm like, dude, I could hear in your voice, you want to come back. You gave him hope, though.
He looks good.
But you gave him hope.
Yeah.
And I wish more of these people out there that have the problem with the testosterone, the 200s, the 300s, wherever that is. I don't care if you're 20 years old or 45 years old. They need to get that hope.
Yeah.
And you guys give that. And I could pick that up with him, which I never heard before. Because I don't think people realize, to me, that's what weightlifting is. It's hope that you can live another 10 at an extreme gladiator level, not a broken old man. And so that was cool to me. It made me emotional with him. I was like, dude, I could hear it in your voice. I got to pull the leash back on you, man. You sound like a pit bull ready to attack. And so I thought that was cool. And it's one of the main reasons I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. And I appreciate you guys flying in to do this for us today.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And I love how, I guess it was Rob Wilkins and Dan all hooked us up to start the discussions. And I'm glad that I got to get you guys out here to talk about this. So I want to finish up just this segment in a sense of talking to the youngsters.
Yes.
I always say, wait. You'll be surprised if you diet right. You'll be surprised if you train consistent. What you can do, and also how much you'll learn before stepping to that next level. But if they do, young kids get that blood work and stuff, is there some numbers or things that you guys see with these kids that say, hey, maybe this should be the route you should take, or this should absolutely not be?
I can't see a situation with a high school athlete, middle school athlete, where we would treat them for something based on performance. That's not what these medications were ever intended for, and that's not what they should be used for. It goes back to the base of what we were talking about before, having the discipline, knowledge, consistency, and doing the right things over time and being patient. I think there's a lack of influence from the adult perspective, whether it be teachers, coaches, or parents, that need to reinstill the values into the young kids so they understand and know and have that hope based on example that it'll happen in time. Then when those things are not necessarily working according to plan, we're there.
Will you guys agree with me? You can say no. I've been in this athletics world my whole life. In all-American football, wrestling, all this stuff. Mr. Universe, winning teenage shows. I was a teenager winning men's shows in powerlifting and bodybuilding. I saw the young teenagers get on this stuff. And I said, and I'll still say today, I believe 100%, if you do it as a youngster at that age, in your teens or in your 20s, you end your career early. You can't maintain that. You're destroying your body and you're shutting your body down in such a way that you won't be able to be that guy in the 30s and 40s. Disagree?
No, totally agree. In fact, especially at that age, knowing probably the amounts that they're using is completely going to give them side effects afterwards. It's going to be life-lasting. So their body will shut down after a few years of using steroids like that. So no, there's not a situation I can think of where that would ever be a good idea.
Why wouldn't the common sense of social media's been out long enough? Yeah. Magazines have been out long enough. Where's the common sense of these guys looking at their influence idols and how great they looked in their 20s or in their teens or their 20s or late 20s and how bad they look in their 30s? Where's the common sense of them going, okay, I get you're going to tell me to do this stuff, but I see you, and I see you in your 30s not doing it now.
I think it's just because they want to see the latest and greatest, so they just move on to the next one.
You agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because you're not looking at that person in the 30s, because where are they? They don't want to show their face anymore because they look like shit. Yep. So now you can't look at them.
Yeah, they're no longer relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
So the relevance fades away.
They don't make it that far in the thought process.
No, and they don't even look for it either. One of the first influencer athletes we worked with, Jason Poston, when we talked and we were figuring out how we were going to line and get things moving, he said, I'm going to just make sure that I'm honest with everybody. I'm going to tell them what I'm using. They need to understand two things. There's just body dysmorphia. They have to have the right expectations that they're not going to achieve this level of physique at this age because it's not necessarily the route that it's natural. You have to have time and patience. Yes, I looked like this at a certain age, the way I did things, but I also, went through and had protocols and did things to get me there. So what you see on Instagram and what you see here, it's not something that you could just, go ahead and take a bunch of steroids and do. It doesn't work that way.
Well, that's episode 1. I took notes. There's so much information here that these guys, I'm just thankful they came out to sit down with me at the castle itself and really go over this. Again, this is going to be I guess now we're saying it's a 3-part series on everything that's this health, medical, being able to create something that you can continue to do for a lifetime in the sense of your body structure, healthiness, and not just the body and muscle, but the mind, the skin, everything attached to it. So we're going to keep this going. Thanks, guys. Please ask your questions below as this comes out. That way it helps me to ask these guys the questions that you guys want to hear about. All right. Thanks again. I'll see you guys next Friday.